Alright, yo, so disclaimer. This video will contain a little bit of personal opinion. It will also contain some facts, and it will also contain a little bit of bias. So if you're not a fan of personal opinions or a little bit of bias, then maybe this video will not be for you. So to save you the heartache and rage your body will feel from hearing me say some things that you don't necessarily or may not agree with, maybe not watch the video. Anyway, for the rest of you, hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get into it.
Just pulled up to the house, don't feel like getting out. I'ma just lay back and crack this window. I've been doing my best, taking a moment to rest, feeling stressed out. Give it a good, I put that on guard when it gets hard. I stay on my job like no days off, so you can go home.
Alright, so first of all, before I get out and shoot anything, I have to get film. And there's a vending machine that sells film. I'm gonna explain all of this later, but for right now I'm gonna just show y'all. Right now this is like playing a movie or something like that. But I'm at the film. As you can see, they got Portrait 160 in there, some Portrait 800, some Portrait 400. It looked like somebody tried to steal some shit, but all right. So basically, you pick what you want. I'm gonna get Portrait 400. Actually, no. I don't want that. Portrait 800. So please favorite card. $65, bro. $65 for a pack of 800. But anyway, we're gonna do it. Thank you. And as easy as that. And just like that, we have a pack of Portrait 800 out of this vending machine. So, yeah, anyway, now we can go shoot. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm about to go downtown to shoot some shit. I had no film. There's not any places to get film anywhere near my house except this vending machine. So, had this vending machine, get a quick pack of 800. And now we finna be on our way. Actually, first, get the fit. Tap in. Come here. You know what I'm saying? How's it looking? How it look in the long weekend bag, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? It's looking good. It's been a long weekend, so you know what I'm saying? We're gonna end it Sunday, so we ending the weekend with taking some film photos. So that's what we're gonna do right now. All right, so most of you have already guessed what's going on. We're clearly talking about the Mamiya RZ67, a very hefty, big, heavy film camera. 6x7 film camera. Before I made this video, I was trying to think of a name for the title of this video. One title was why the RZ67 is the best film camera ever. I'm pretty sure I've already used that as a title. Another title was going to be why photographers love the RZ67 so much, and then another title was the best portrait film camera out there, or something like that. And honestly, to me, in my opinion, all of those titles could have been true. Some might argue that the title, why all photographers love the RZ67, could be a little bit of, not the RZ67, but why all film photographers love this camera, could be a little bit of clickbait, because clearly not all film photographers love this camera, but a lot of film photographers do, including myself. Now, there are other great 6x7 film cameras that photographers love, like the Mamiya 7 or the Pentax 6.7, and of course the RZ67. So I'm just going to talk about why I personally, me, myself, and other photographers out there who shoot the 6x7 format love this camera in particular, which is the RZ67. But before we get into that, let's just talk about a few reasons why some photographers might prefer other cameras over the RZ67. The weight of this camera. It is a heavy camera. If you've ever shot with the RZ67, and even just looking at this camera, you can tell that it's quite hefty. It's a very heavy camera to just like walk around with and do kind of everyday kind of style photography with. Now, I forgot how much it weighs exactly, but it is indeed a very heavy camera, especially with the prism finder on here. I have the auto winder at the bottom, the lenses and everything in the back. It's just already a heavy camera, but once you start adding accessories to it, it gets even heavier. Another reason some people choose other cameras over this camera is because the shape of it is not very, it's not an SLR camera. It's a box. There's no like real good way to hold it except from the bottom. It's kind of awkward to hold, and it's kind of awkward to just like, you know, pull out. It's not an SLR, so like you can't just like pull it out, put it up to your eye and take a picture like you can with other cameras like Mamiya 7 and Pentax 6.7. A lot of people also might not like that you need to rotate the back to take a vertical image and then rotate it back to take a horizontal image. A lot of people might just not like the ergonomics and, you know, kind of form factor of the camera, which is fair. But a lot of photographers that use other cameras over this camera, but have also used this camera, still very much like the image that they get from this camera. But in my personal opinion, this is probably the best 6x7 medium format film camera that you can take a portrait on, because there's one thing that this camera does that no of those other cameras can do. Its ability to uniquely focus an image. Side note, some might even argue that the RB is better than the RZ because it's mechanical, has less things that can go wrong with it, like, you know, the electronical RZ67, but we're going to be talking about the RZ. The Mamiya glass that can be attached to this camera is by far some of the sharpest glass lenses that I've ever used in my life. The 110 2.8, which is the reason I got this camera instead of the RB67. If you shoot medium format, you know that shooting 2.8 on a medium format camera is insane. A lot of people might argue that this camera is, you know, a studio camera, but I personally, I use it for everything. I use it for landscapes, I use it for portraits in the studio, not in the studio. I literally use this camera for everything. But I know that my experience with the camera isn't everyone's experience with the camera. There's some things that people just can't overlook or get over when they use a camera, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fair. I can say that this camera is a great camera all day long, but there's going to be some people out there that despise it or just don't like it because of their own personal reasonings, which is okay. But speaking on that, a reason why I love this camera is because of how modular it is. Now, the more you mod the camera out or put things on the camera that doesn't come with the camera, clearly the more expensive the camera will get, and also clearly the more heavy the camera is going to get. I personally love the waist level viewfinder of this camera. I think all photographers have a soft spot for a waist level viewfinder. Just looking down into the RZ67 is one of the most beautiful things anybody, not even photographers, could do. Sometimes the image looking down into the waist level viewfinder is more beautiful than the image you get out of the camera. I won't even lie about that. But I personally don't like shooting at waist level that much, so I put a prism finder on my camera, and this is the prism finder with the built-in light meter, which is great because now I don't have to guess my exposures and I don't have to carry around an external light meter. I also have this brick at the bottom of my RZ, which is the auto winder. And the only reason I have this auto winder on my camera is because my manual winder is not working. Sometimes it freezes and seizes up, but you know, that's the pain of having one of these cameras. So for my camera to, you know, wind properly, I need to have the auto winder at the bottom, which makes it heavier. But I mean, I guess I don't ever have to wind a photo ever again. You can also get a side grip handle for this camera. Clearly you can put different backs on it, different lenses, and just like a plethora of other things that you can put and do to this camera, which makes it one of the most modular film cameras I've ever seen and ever used ever. But I do remember at one point I was considering selling this camera just because of all the malfunctions it was having and things that was going wrong with it, and it just seized up and died on me just too many times. So I was considering getting a Pentax 6.7, but then I shot with the Pentax 6.7 and I just didn't love it. It didn't give me the same feeling that I had when shooting with this camera, and my portraits weren't the same. Like, I didn't approach taking portrait photography the same way I did when shooting with the RZ. But I just love the way the RZ made me feel when I shot with it. I love the way the photos looked. I do think it was released in the 1980s, and I think they stopped making it maybe in like the 2000s, like maybe 2004 or something like that. But a lot of people then and a lot of people now use this camera professionally and just like as hobbyists. I personally think this is one of the most unique 6x7 film cameras. There are other film cameras that kind of have this same build, like some Hasselblads, Bronicas, and some other, you know, film cameras. I think there's a Fuji film camera that's just like this. I personally just think the RZ and the glass on the RZ outweighs those cameras just a little bit, in my personal opinion. Now, clearly it doesn't matter what film camera you use. I could care less if you're using a hot potato, a microwave, a toaster oven, whatever it is you use to take a photo. If the photo's good, it's a good photo. You can buy this camera, you can buy this whole setup, you can get the 110 and everything, and you can have this legendary, most sought after setup of a camera and still not be a very good photographer. Then there could be somebody who has something that's not as good as the RZ and be an amazing photographer. So this video is not to say that this camera will make you the best photographer or you'll get these results because you buy this camera. I'm also not trying to sell this camera. I'm just trying to tell y'all, you know what I'm saying, my personal favorite film camera. This is not this camera in particular, but the RB system is what made me fall in love with film photography. So I do want to make it perfectly clear that just because you get this camera does not mean you're going to be a world-renowned film photographer. I have the camera and I'm not a world-renowned film photographer. Sometimes I take very bad photos with this camera, very shitty photos with this camera. I do have a very special place in my heart for this camera. I don't know if I'll ever get something different. I think I'll probably always have an RZ6.7. I also take a lot of portraits, and for me this is by far the best portrait film camera money could buy. But anyway, man, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think the RZ6.7 is the best portrait film camera out there? Is there any other film cameras that you think is better than the RZ? And yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments. Would love to hear you guys' personal opinions as well. Also, sorry if you hear them shoveling the shit out of some snow outside. They waited 3 days, it's all ice, and now they're shoveling the ice, so it's pretty loud. But anyway, man, let me know what you think down in the comments below. But yeah, man, other than that, we're gonna get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, got something out of it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, I'm not talking to you because you already did what you had to do. So we're gonna get out of here, man. Let's go do some shit. You know the vibes. Not gonna be shoveling snow, or shoveling ice, I should say. God damn it.